button. No, it's not 4 a.m. You're wrong. It's not 4 a.m. Is this Raid Shadow Legends? Yeah. Yeah, this is Raid Shadow Legends. The most strategic game where you can, like, upgrade your guys and win. Oh, if only I could make games like Raid Shadow Legends. Okay. Okay. So we actually have to back this bus up a little bit. So we're just not going to do that, and I believe that'll solve the problem that we have for now. Why does everyone talk about Raid Shadow Legends? Because basically every YouTuber is now sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, and they do commercials in their YouTube videos. This has been the longest hour. I said at least an hour. I didn't say in an hour. I said it'll be at least an hour. Of course, it's been like 4 hours, but that's what happens. At least it does not mean equal to. Those are different. If you try to program and you think at least and equal to are the same, your program is going to have problems. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I got to get some Bengal spice going and then we'll be ready. Okay. What are we doing? We are continuing to fix this problem about communication with the meta program. So this is all good so far. But next, so what I have to do is convert. Okay, I'm probably going to regret the no check-ins because I'm probably going to want to change. Oh no. Okay, so like I said at the end of the last stream, we're counting batches, but we want to pass some things through batches and not other things. So we can't count batches because we kind of just need to know when everything is done. Now, the problem is that is going to cause the compiler to infinite loop until we completely solve this problem. Because the whole thing is some of our guys are hanging out in this buffer and never leaving, right? And so if we actually count guys, then the guys will never leave and we'll never finish compiling. Okay? So before I do that, I think I would like to try something here. When we did this thing, I want to do something here where we just try exporting it. All right. Like, because it might be that 100% of the time we actually don't need to do this queuing. It might be. So, okay, so if exported is set, we don't get here. So this is really only for guys that ain't been exported yet. Okay, so let's do this. Let's try this. I'm going to add a parameter. And we're going to try recursing down into here rather than... So we're going to say do export source x result pointer is header true if star result pointers handled is true. So we're just calling back to this with this thing set to true, which will prevent us from getting to here. And I just want to see and then we're just going to print this. And this will probably get printed, and then I'll be sad. But maybe it won't. Maybe we'll be able to export 100% of the time. And then we don't need this weird extra buffering. And then we could replace this with an internal compiler error, if that's all the case. Because this is C++, we can't just do that. That was C++ code right there. If is filtered out. Uh-oh. Wait, what? Term does not evaluate to a what? It's right there. What are you talking about, compiler? This must be some other. How did that? Oh, because I have a bool. Expression is filtered out. All right. That's what happens when you make a local variable with the same name as a function. Conjunction junction. Oh my God. Okay, first, two good things just happened. First, that's probably off the screen, right? Where's the camera pointed? First, we didn't print our message. So 100% of these were handled. Second, you don't see the 999 warning. It's gone because 100. I think the only real case was that struct parameters. So we're actually kind of done right now. I mean, this is the sort of thing that could break later depending on other decisions that we make in the compiler, but for now we're done and I can remove some of this stuff. So this thing, batch to queue, gone. Batch to queue, gone. Batch to queue, gone. Interp report error. Oh, you know what? We'll see if I'm going to be sad about this because we didn't run this on all the tests yet. We'll undo this if it unhandled filtered out source expression in message exporter. Okay, so yeah. Oh, you know what? No, we won't infinite loop if we report an error. Never mind. Never mind. It doesn't matter because we'll terminate. What am I even talking about? Okay. $25 months. That's like a serious streamer number. To have someone subscribing for 25 months. That's a lot of months. That's like enough months to have a baby or something. If you're an elephant. That's before you were born. Wow. It's a long time ago. It's a long time ago. Yeah, I'm obviously a pro streamer now if people are subscribing for 25 months. I just have to get the triangle shaped lights that go in the background and then I have to play Fall Guys and I'll make millions of dollars. Do I use assertions like Casey shows on Handmade Hero? I don't know what Casey shows, so I can't say. I do use assertions, but I don't know what Casey does and if there's something special about what he does. It's also enough time for 2 elephants to have 2 babies. Wow, it's crazy. We have two 25-month subscribers. Wow. Do I like the CodeGem LLVM provides, or do I think it has problems? I have not looked at it very carefully, to be honest. I've just always got too much else to do. It doesn't seem that bad. Like it's way better than the code that we output naively when we don't try to optimize anything at all. Well, it's even worse than that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, I'm glad that we have that functionality. It definitely helps. But I haven't looked at, objectively how good is it compared to what it should be, ideally, with an infinitely smart compiler. And then also, even if it's not ideal right now, a lot of that might have to do with, how we are feeding information to LLVM, whether we're not telling it some things that it would want to know to make better code or whatever, all of that is just something we haven't done. He makes this assert function that instantly crashes with no pointer to catch things that should never happen. I mean, that's standard. Like libc has that. That's standard. So Casey's version is just like his own version, but everybody does that. Like that's part of responsible programming. What does my daily schedule look like? I don't really have a daily schedule. I just kind of do what I want to do. That's what works for me. Okay, well, all the tests pass. So this was easier than we thought. Still, though, there's a bug. Still, we still need to do this other dealy bopper. This thing right here. We have to switch this back to this, but that's maybe non-trivial and scary. Okay. We're getting removed from the pipeline early, which makes sense. However, sometimes they are queued and we need to never get exported since the struct arguments have been ejected from the pipeline. So we catch that here. Robustness, there may be other rare cases that cause problemos. Okay, great. Explain. So I'm going to make these little tags that I make to explain that these two things are conceptually connected, right? Okay. The vast majority of this could be handled automatically by a tool. The vast majority of what happens at runtime? No. No, that's the definition. The definition of a non-trivial program is that you don't know what it does without running it. That's what a program is. We're going to test this again in slow mode. If you have a function that takes a parameter and you never pass a null to the function, then there's that. No, because that function may be stored in a variable somewhere. You might call that function through a function pointer that was given to you by a library that is not under static analysis because you just have a binary for it. Like, dude, you have no idea. You have no idea about these things. No cool test music for the compiler. We should put that in. We should put the Benny Hill music. Do I have a maximum ceiling for the amount of jank I have in my code base? I mean, it depends on what project I'm working on. For the compiler, I have felt that complexity was the primary bottleneck often. And so it's just, and there's also like, there's no schedule that it's trying to ship by exactly, although I know people wish there were. So it's just, if I am unhappy with how complicated something is, I'll just keep trying to make it better. And often I succeed. Sometimes I don't. You can solve a weaker version of the halting problem if you have the option to answer with don't know, right? Yes. In that case, your program to predict another program's behavior is extremely simple. You just return don't know because that's what it'll be 99.99% of the time anyway. Should be obvious that I need to find something else for compiler music. We could go back to the theme from Requiem for a Dream. Except that gets us muted when we do that. So maybe that's not the best idea. You can use that fact to make static analysis. That sometimes helps. No, because the problem is that don't knows propagate upward, right? So, and downward, right? So as soon as you have a don't know in a function, any operation combined with don't know evaluates to don't know almost always, right? Except for trivially, like false and or whatever. But so very rapidly everything becomes don't know. And then if you don't know the parameters to another procedure, how are you even going to do anything, right? Like, you would be shocked how fast this happens. And of course, the way a lot of research languages tackle this is by putting more and more and more information into the type system, right? So instead of an integer, you say this is an integer that's known to be an even number between 5 and or 6 and 38, right? That just doesn't appeal very much to me. I think that's more complex by far than what it yields in terms of useful results. What if you could silence the analyzer when you want, like manual? Silencing the analyzer is not the issue. If you're talking about the same topic, maybe you're not, but the issue is actually getting useful output out of it, right? That's all. The issue is, for a non-trivial program, having your analyzer be able to tell you anything. All right. So we're going to check this in. Oh, let's put our comment in the changelog. Fix the, what was that error called? How do you program the game if you keep adding and removing features to the language? Well, by stopping using the features when I remove them and using the features when I add them. Like, it makes sense, right? Okay. Fixed that struct arguments were getting things stuck in message exporter. Great. So good. So good. Okay. Okay. I mean, there's a big literature about trying to statically analyze what a program will do at runtime. Like, this is a thing that many, many, many computer science people have spent their careers on because, you know, if you want to improve program correctness, that's one way to do it, right? It's probably the way that most people think seems to make sense. So, you know, there's a lot of literature on this that you could look at about things that people have tried. And of course, because computer science is not a science, they'll all claim that their thing is awesome and you should do it. Okay. So I want to fix this other issue. Most people approach it from very academic points of view without the aim at practical use. Maybe. I mean, when academic research is good, it'll apply practically eventually, right? The problem is just, I think we've lost the knack of knowing what is academic because it's advanced and what is academic because it's just totally pointless, right? Making language turn incomplete and 100% analyzable. I mean, yeah. Like, that's a thing that you can do, for sure. It'll limit the kinds of operations you can support, but that is a thing. I'm glad you liked the video. How's the beta been going? It's been going good. I had a bit of a gap between beta releases for various reasons. Some of it is I just slowed down a little bit and took a break. So I had about a month between these two. But then this one was like 4 days from this one to there. So it's like, it's not too bad to have a gap. But, that was a couple days ago, the last beta release. And then this one, after we fix this, it's not really enough to justify a beta, but, I feel like this one won't be more than a week after this one. It's easy to not get canceled. Just don't voice your opinions. I don't think that's good enough anymore. Because the problem is, in an academic setting, suppose you're chair of a committee and somebody else wants to be the chair of the committee, and you are white and they are not white. They can figure out a way to make that happen. They can figure out a way to construe things, anything that you've ever done as being hostile, because that's what this is all about. So, good luck with that. All right. I mean, even if you're not white, if you're male, you've got a huge target on your back, right? Like, that's just how this works in the year 2020. So have fun trying to be an academic doing serious work. Okay. You feel like it's better in STEM fields? I don't think it, like, I think that is true, but I don't think that's going to last. I think people are too chicken shit. So I think all these fields are ripperoonie, unfortunately. So, Winnie the Pooh mug is legit. I know. It's my favorite mug. I got it in Thailand at Tesco Lotus in Thailand. You think the days when schools were useful are over? I think they still are useful for a while as credentialing institutions. Not to prove that you actually know anything or can do anything, but to prove that, to be an arbitrary scheme to select some people out of a crowd as being the people that somewhere wants to hire or whatever, right? And there are many reasons why that's useful. But I think that'll also decay over time. So, yeah. Do I think a self-taught engineer can be as good as a graduate from a top university? Yes. In fact, that self-taught engineer could be better. It's just you have to be very serious about being self-taught. You can't just goof off and say that you're self-taught. Code people write is not random, but it is very structured. Therefore, you don't think the halting problem applies. I mean, as I said, there's lots of research on this, so you can just look at what people are able to predict, and there are things where it's like, hey, this is what we were able. Here's our experimental programming language, and this is what we were able to prove about it, right? And then we added this feature that allows the programmer to declare a certain kind of thing about values, and that let us prove this much, right? And then we added this, right? So you can go read that kind of stuff, which honestly is not my wheelhouse. I don't remember any real concrete examples from that, but that's the kind of thing that people have done, and you can just get a feel for what's provable easily, what's hard, what requires extra annotation from the programmer and so forth. Is it better to know without reputation or have the reputation without knowing? It is far better to know without reputation. Far better. Are you kidding? Well, it depends on what your objective is. BTW cancel culture is basically non-existent. That's so false, dude. As someone who has people have attempted to cancel like 3 times. I'm sorry, that's just horseshit. It's a left-wing talking point that cancel culture doesn't exist. And it's incoherent because a parallel talking point is, oh, the people we cancel still somehow have lives and can maybe find jobs sometimes, so it's not that bad. Both those things can't be true. Yet I see people arguing both of those things. It's just offensive to somebody who's had cancellation attempts to tell them that cancel culture doesn't exist. I just know you don't know what you're talking about when you say that. Just don't even be saying that stuff in this channel. Yes, it's gaslighting 100%. That's true. That's true. Okay. Okay, we got to change the way these things are counted. You don't think it's the biggest thing as right-wingers make it out to be? I've heard that as well. Let me put it this way. Imagine tomorrow that a bunch of people say something about you, and when you Google search your real name, the top 5 hits say that you're a racist for this and that reason. Imagine that happened to you. And you have no recourse of getting that cleaned up because who's gonna listen to you, right? Like what do you do in that situation? Right? You try to date somebody 5 years from now and they do a Google search on you because that's what happens these days. And number 1 or number 2 or number 3 hit is still like, this guy's a racist. That's what it is. That's what it is. It is very serious if it happens to you. It is life ruining if it happens to you. Don't pretend it isn't. It's disingenuous. Okay, so We have these atomics. That's not the right one. This one. No, that's not it. What are the async stalls? I don't think we need that. Like this is a stopgap to make up for the fact that we want to try to make sure that everybody exits this loop. But it's not, this isn't correct anyway. Okay, so all right. So this is one thing that we need to deal with. And then this is the other one. So we're just going to go for it and try to do the solution. Atomic add batch cube dot count. So we're counting the number of cubes and not the number of batches, all right? And that goes into async actions running. Now, we're just going to try to do the right thing. I may regret this. Okay, so we're going to do this one. This just reminds us to delete this line. And we actually, because everything that goes in has to come out the other end, then just on the importer, here we go. Right, we want to be atomic subtract comma oh geez, dang it. So the problem is this is for a lot of message types. Blah. Blah. And wait, why am I finding this other two different ways? Are these actually different? Oh, we only stored this for the sending interp. Okay.
going to do this. We're going to put all this down here. This is very scary. Very scary. Can we refactor that? Okay. So here we're just going to do all this. That's going to go there. This is so weird. Okay, so this is going to be in receive from interceptor. All right, so when we did message export, we do the add and then we send, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we will consider this. Okay, so wait, what? Okay. It already, that's so weird. We were double, we must have been double incrementing. We must have been double incrementing. Which means we need to do this. And again, we may be sad about, we may be very sad about this. Okay. Instead of async actions running, I don't know. Okay. Okay. Come on. Where was this call? Oh yeah. It was an importer, of course. We're actually going to do this. Just like, we're probably going to factor this back together. Okay. And then how do I get the number of cues? Cues. All right. Other Other. Oh, this. There's no atomic subtract. What? I didn't do atomic subtract. Or are you kidding me? I guess I add with a minus. What is wrong with this thing? Look, I'm right clicking. Go to definition of atomic add. You see this? Atomic add. Go to definition. How do you get by without an IDE? People ask me. They're so valuable. They're so amazing, and they help you do everything. You can't work without one. Okay, we get the declaration. I don't care about that, actually. All right. Let's go find the file. I don't know where it frickin' is. It's here. Yeah, okay, I don't have subtract, so we'll just minus it. That's a 50 DKP minus. No, what? Oh, it's right. It's not called QUDES. It's called toMessage. Which is weird, but okay. Async actions running. I made so many mistakes. IDEs let you type less. Typing is not a problem for me. And I don't use classes. So, like, rip. All right. The most likely result is that this infinite loops, by the way. Let's, while this is going, yeah. All right. I clearly goofed. That's fine, though. I expected to goof. It's just we are now dealing with a difficulty. I am not actually currently using a Samson Meteor mic. That is incorrect. That is fake news. Fake news.
Well, it doesn't seem to go down. Ever. Hold on. It is going down, just by not remotely as much as it goes up. And not by the same amount every time, which is very amusing. We certainly don't have 4,000 calls. Well, so when we say export batch, oh, wait. Wait. Okay, here's the problem, guys. Remember we have this thingers that are ready, queues that are ready, all right? And we add stuff to that when we successfully export, but sometimes we defer, guys. Sometimes we defer, guys. Okay, and when we defer them, they don't ever make it into here. So we need this. We need this to go here as well. I forgot to do that. But first I will warm up some more tea.
see. You have to figure out where I get my shirts. Well, these ones I ordered off Amazon because I originally got them probably at like Bloomingdale's or somewhere, or Nordstrom, but they probably don't have them anymore. So they're a very, they're like better than a random t-shirt, but not as uncomfortable as a full-on button-down shirt. So it's like right on. Anyway, my being seasoned at life recommendation about clothing is anytime you find clothing that you like, especially, just order a crap ton of it from Amazon or wherever else, because the thing is, like things that you like to wear probably last a couple years and then they wear out, right? Unless you don't wear them that often. And fashion is just very seasonal. Nobody keeps making things that are good, right? It all gets cycled out because they want to sell new stuff. So anytime there's things that you like, just buy a lot of it, and then you'll be able to continue liking it for years, unlike normally. Favorite is a red. Yeah. I like the red color. I only have 2 of those, and one of them has a big hole in it on the side from where I got snagged by a chain link fence. And I tried to order more of those off Amazon, and they were out. They only had like the grays and navy blue and stuff. I should check again though, but they're probably totally discontinued at this point because that's how these clothings work. Uniqlo has cornered the market on making the same thing year round. Yeah, but they don't make anything that I would want to wear. So, rip. The secret lamp shop is Amazon.com. You go on Amazon and search for Turkish lamp, and you will see Turkish lamps. Okay. So Amazon is worthless now. All counterfeiters. It is a big problem. The hilarious thing is there are certain if anytime you have simple things like tools or I don't know, like gun parts or something that are mostly made in China, you go on there and like there's 27 different totally made up brand names of like the same thing. And they're all weird, nonsensical names. And it's like, why? Why is that? Like, do you think someone's going to buy one or the other because this randomly generated name that you came up with, like, makes more sense to them? It's really goofy, man. I actually don't know that most of those counterfeits come from China. A lot of them might be coming from India or something, because that's where a lot of this industry is moving. I think it's different people trying to hustle. Yeah, it might be that like everybody just goes down to the factory and like it probably doesn't cost that much to buy 20 of a particular part. Or even 0. Maybe you just put it up and then you go buy it after someone buys it on Amazon, right? You've seen a few from Singapore? Really? That kind of surprises me. Have I been to Shanghai? No, I haven't. When I was in China, I just went to Beijing because I didn't have time, unfortunately. But I do have a China business visa that's good for like 8 more years. So I could go there maybe post-virus time at any time. I just have to get the WePay thing figured out, man. I tried to sign up for it when I was there and it didn't work. I wasn't able to buy anything. China is communist. You don't want to come there. Well, it's communist in some dimensions and very capitalist in other dimensions. So, you know, it's not easily categorizable. Okay, so how am I going to debug this? I mean, the place where China is super communist is about land. Like, I don't think you're allowed to own land as a private citizen in China, right? Well, and there's lots of it. Like, the government has a lot to say about a lot of things, right? But day-to-day commerce occurs in a capitalistic way, apart from, you know, some specific categories. Okay. So oh yeah. Yeah, right. We were in the middle of solving it and then I forgot what we were doing and now I remember. So good on me. We were going to flush deferred exports and we just added this parameter. We are not, however, putting anything into the parameter, but whenever we increment decals, right, We got to add the queued. Okay, so it's just deferred queued. Is that the only call to this? Probably. Yeah. I like that the number's a lot lower. It isn't low enough. It is not low enough, but it's a lot better than 4,000. Okay. Receive. We want this number to go to 0. We're trying to make this 15 be 0, all right? Now, I have a plan for that. Okay, because people on Twitter tell me that 2 plus 2 equals 5, then I can add 2, and subtract 5 continually until I get down to 0. All right? You can go on Twitter and find all sorts of explanations for how 2 plus 2 really equals 5. Non-ironically, so we should be able to use that fact. Whoops, I just kicked the camera. I hope it's not too bad. Okay, good. It's not too bad. 2 plus 2 equals 5. For high values of 2. Very high value. You need to have smoked a lot for 2 plus 2 to equal 5. Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out, so one way to debug this is to disambiguate So the problem right now is sort of there's this async actions running variable that a lot of different things get dumped into, right? And that's used for knowing when we break. We could also keep a separate tally in a different place of just queueds, right? And that would tell us if we're actually at 0 on queues. But before doing that, we could actually just run this and like break, because we're infinite looping, right? We could just break and check the obvious places that they might be hiding, because if there is something in one of those places, then that tells us what we already would know, right? Okay, break. So can look in message exporter for some of these things that could be happening. No batches. There are deferred exports still. And by the way, there are 13 of them. So 13 deferred exports. Oh, wait. Bro. There's still, okay, there's still a problem. There's maybe multiple problems, but there's still at least one. So, yeah. We're assuming that the number of messages is the same, which we shouldn't. That is like coupled. So this ting-tangler here, we want to take out, and we want to take out whoever increments that. And actually, async actions completed is just informational, but take that out as well, because this thing does that. So and honestly, that's the only place, so like we should move that. It's just kind of silly to have all this out here and then this, when this is just doing the same kind of thing that this. Anyway, okay, but I don't want to do that yet. One thing at a time. So we are just now counting the number of queues. So we need to find the thing that incremented async actions running. Okay, it's that. Bro. Okay. We can't do this. We can't do this, but we can subtract it out later. multi-threading. Multi-threading. See, if we don't increment it here, but then hope that later when it gets handled, we increment by the number of things, we leave a gap during which we're not recording the fact that there is this work. The point of this is just to tell the main loop that there's still work happening. And so we would be leaving a gap. Mind the gap. All right, mind the gap. That's the rule of multi-threading. So here in this grab and handle one batch, we will atomic decrement can't do it here either. Well, I guess we could. Actually, we don't want to do it there. I want to do it here. We're going to have to factor a bunch of things still. Okay. So we decrement. Problem is, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's a problem. No. Okay, wait. Where's the increment? Is it up? See, this is not right. Why did I put this here? Okay. So that when we call export batch, we will have incremented, right? Where was this? I want to simplify this. I don't think multiple workspace should be able to intercept a message. I kind of want to clean that up. Maybe. Okay. Does anyone know why Tesla is trading over 1,000 times earnings? It's bananas. It's just because nobody knows where to put money for an investment. So you put it into the small number of companies that appear to be doing something that could grow. Right? That's all. Nobody, like we're in a super inflated fake economy right now. So all that money has to go somewhere. Why is my apartment like not air conditioning? Because the air conditioning was turned off, that's why. Okay. Wait. Okay, this is super confusing. This is not even the right frickin'... Oh my god. Oh my god. This is after... Oh my god. Okay. This is so scary, guys. Okay. This is what happens after... Okay. Grab and handle one batch, right? Does this, but this thing does need this. Okay, this is about how many things are in the batch array. This is about sending a message, except that pass to interceptors does that. That is what we were just looking at. So pass to interceptors will increment this. This I want to get rid of. But we need to solve this first. Okay. Well, okay. Pass to interceptors. Is going to do... Okay, see, now I was being confused by all the things. Okay. So our queues that are ready here, it's going to be here. We're doing pass to interceptors. Pass to interceptors is going to go and ampersand okay, and then back in the importer, we need this decrement and and for the number of cues. Is probably still not right. But we tried. It's going to 0. Well, sometimes you can do things correctly. You just have to believe in yourself. I learned that in a Disney movie. The power was inside you all along. Uh-oh. Okay, well now we made a problem. But, you know, some of the power is inside me all along. Okay, so the thing is, it was at 0. So it's interesting. Okay, so we're actually still not correct because there was this stuff. We're more correct. This stuff about these stalls is not being included. And so, like, we're incrementing by cues that are ready. But there's nobody who counts. I mean, I could just re-enable this for now. Ugh, that's gross. That's gross. Disney stock going up is really bananas considering theaters and parks are closed. Yeah. But you know, money's got to go somewhere. It's not going into bonds. So, you know, here's the thing, right? You know how houses are inflated and insane and they're too expensive, and we've ruined the ability to have a normal ability to buy a house for generations of people because we decided that houses were an investment and therefore monetary policy should support the investments of people who bought houses. You know that whole fuck up? We're doing that with stocks right now. Right? We're doing that with stocks. So, rip. Inflatable houses. Aren't stocks a more traditional form of investment? Yes, but does that matter? How do I manage to program and talk politics at the same time? I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not getting a lot of programming done right now. I mean, not compared to normal productivity. Okay. I should make a little tag for all of these so I could match them up. So here, okay. It's really weird that the game actually compiled without this. May have just ruined that. We'll see. Yep, rip. Actually, not really rip. Not really rip. So now what's happening is, I believe we may be here we go. I kind of want to make a loop, but I'm just going to be lazy and recursion it. So you might be removing some things that other buffered things were depending on. And then those things never move unless some other event wakes the compiler up. But these things being ready from the buffer, there's no event corresponding to that. So the compiler just won't wake. That didn't help. Rip. So the question is that number accurate? So when we run this and we infinite loop, does that number represent exports that are still hanging around? If so, what do we do about it? So the problem is we only ever flush when we passed a new message, which probably isn't sufficient. So we need to, I was saying before that we may need to factor this, and I think that is correct now. Okay, so the message exporter, it has 13 things. Look, it's got 13 things, and this says 13. So this number is actually right. We have 13 things. It's just nothing is causing the 13 things to go. All right, so we need to we actually don't need that. Oh, we already loop around it. That's why. Ha ha. Ha ha. We already were doing that, just outside instead of inside. Okay, so we're grabbing and handling one batch. Anyone here heard of ERLang? Yeah, it's the programming language that runs all the hospital equipment inside the ER. Like, you know, the thing that goes like doot, doot, doot. It's that. Do you see any practical use for direct storage on the kind of games I make? I don't even know what that is. Is that like trying to copy the PlayStation's SSD API, or what is it? Yes. Well, then probably yes, because like opening files with like libc is just trash on modern hardware. You don't want to. You don't really want to read files that way. Okay. That said, I bet direct storage is probably horrible because everything from Microsoft these days is horrible. But if it's the only way to do that on Windows, then you got to do it, right? If I weren't a programmer, what do I think I'd be doing? Mathematical physics or pro streamer, bro. How does the array in C++ work to use destructors? No. I do not ever explicitly free them, no. In this compiler. I would be a pro visual novel streamer. I would play visual novels all day and read, you know, when they read out loud all the dialogue and then press the button and the next dialogue comes up and they read all that, I would do that. It would be super sweet stream. All right. So this grab and handle one batch situation is kind of not great. Okay. What we will do is we'll break it into another thing. So we're going to do that. Okay. And then this comes down here. All right. Boom. Like that and that. And then here we are implementing this thing that we just said here. like so. And for now, we are not even going to do anything new. We're just going to make it compile. This is kind of horrible. Because the fact that this thing is in a separate thread is kind of a pain. It's a pain in the membrane. Oh, this send to metaprogram and the rest of the compiler thing, that's a big rip. We're getting rid of that. Can't believe we never got rid of that. All right. So this isn't going to work. It's going to do the same thing because we didn't actually change anything. We just refactored it around, but often that's a good step. So we're going to get rid of this. This is irrelevant now. The problem is now, so the reason we split this off into a separate thing is that we can call that separate thing from somewhere else, like from the main loop. The problem is like if I do no jobs, I think that'll might work. No, same thing. Oh. Yeah. If okay, so this is easy. We're going to make the no jobs version work first. This is easy because there's no separate thread in this case. Cannot convert argument 1 from ask declaration to code. Oh. Right. Okay. So maybe we can make this work. Nope. Okay. This is a separate problem now. Okay. I think. The separate problem is none of these things want to leave the pipeline anymore. They were going to 0 before, I thought, but now they are not. But, oh, the number was going to 0, but that may just be because we weren't counting these guys. So these 13 guys have probably been stuck there the whole time, and just for a different reason. Although, wasn't that warning that we were not printing anymore at the end? Yeah, this warning wasn't going off, so like this wasn't happening for a while. I don't know, but anyway, we'll do this. Oh, come on, run. What is Visual Studio doing? It's about to barf, I swear. 64-bit. Oh yeah, okay. Somebody told me it was about having text selected in that window, and that is what it is. Oh my god, such a garbage. Is there any plan to call functions for the first argument? No. No. I do not want to entertain that sophistry. Okay, so this is just looping. And so we just added the call that is doing this here. Okay, so is this like a circular situation? Wait. Bro. Okay. We're just not doing anything. Still same. Weird. I don't even get it. I do not even get it. Yeah, I mean, something like dot calls, it doesn't do anything. I mean, if you're in an object-oriented language, it sort of does something, except it doesn't because everyone's saying UFCS ought to be a thing anyway. So like dot calls literally don't do anything. They're meaningless in modern programming languages. It's just that people are used to it. That's why they want it. Okay, so now we are actually here. Has it been unqueued? No. Okay. Okay, if this is
This is in the size pipe. Why is there still something in the size pipe? Yeah, like we're not even compiling all the way now. That compiles. This may have to do with I just had a thought about what it had to do with, and then it slipped me. Okay, so this is infinite looping, for example, the very first test. Not that surprising. There's a two-phase thing in the game where we generate code at a certain point, and that part may not be running. They're not meaningless. They help people read code only because you're used to it. It helps you read code because you're used to it. Like, maybe like it transfers control to something instead of only a function. Yeah, but that's called object-oriented programming. If you're not doing object-oriented programming, it doesn't make sense. Like you're thinking in an object-oriented way, so you want to do that. And that makes sense if you're thinking in an object-oriented way, but this is not a programming language for object-oriented programming. Right? It's true that that is about transferring control to something. That's exactly what it is. That's not how we do things in this part of town. So now the real thing is you're just used to writing things object-oriented because that's what's taught and that's what a lot of people learn, and you know, that's not too surprising. You found that, well, Prolog is especially syntax light, okay? Like, Prolog is not a good comparison. Do I recommend visual scripting for someone who's new to programming? Maybe. I mean, I'm not that familiar with the various visual scripting systems, so I can't really comment, but it might be easier to learn that way than a different way. Are most AAA games using OOP? It sort of depends. Some of them are very heavily OOP, yes. Some of them are not. Like Electronic Arts games, as far as I know, are super OOP, right? So are Valve games. Especially many times objects interact in ways that don't go well together with dot calls. You mean without? But that's, again, that's object. You're programming objects, right? That's not, I don't know how else to say. Like, I've said what I have to say about that. What about Naughty Dog? Well, I don't know. Like, definitely Mike Acton's engine stuff was not object-oriented. But maybe some programmers there wanted to be object-oriented, and that was part of
Like, I feel like he left under some tension or controversy, and I'm not sure what that was exactly. It might have been the 30 FPS thing. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I shouldn't say anything because I don't know anything about it. Oh, Insomniac, right. Duh, I always get Insomniac and Naughty Dog confused for some reason. I don't know why. So I especially don't know anything about Naughty Dog's code. If you have an instance of a struct in memory, that's what you would call an object too. But that's just how you want to think about it. Like, what I'm saying is that's not a good way to think about things a lot of the time. It'll get in your way a lot if you think about things that way by default. All right. I am starting to get tired. I feel like we're not going to completely solve this tonight, so we may attack it again tomorrow. It's weird. It's like I kind of want a simpler program to look at, because looking at the game here, well, we can just start looking though. We can just see what some people are waiting on, and sometimes it's annoying to try to figure out, but if it's not annoying, let's just see. So we've got our deferred exports. I'm very happy that this count is correct. That's half the battle right there. So it's waiting on. Okay, wait, this thing exited the send pipe. What? Oh, because that's what happens, right? Okay. I was forgetting some things. It is not in a pipe. It'll come back into a pipe later. Okay. It's a lambda body. Line 44 of campaign. Shut down campaign. So the next thing would be like figuring out what this is waiting on and so forth. Okay, let's do a really simple experiment. When we generate code for commands, I just want to make sure this happens. So that'll at least tell us if those events occur. Except not, because it'll be in all this spam. They don't appear to. Okay. Yeah. Sucks, dude. So the problem is one that I need to think about. Dude, I hate Windows. Fuck you. I'll just Control C it really fast. Okay. So you see, you're not seeing those printouts anywhere. I was too tired to put the quotation mark in the right place, by the way. I needed to go. Wait, what? I don't know. I don't know what just happened. Anyway. The problem is those hooks that I was pointing out, which also exist in some of the tests, by the way, get run when we say everything that's can be parsed has been parsed or type checked, right? The fact that this is non-zero is now holding that up. And the problem is it shouldn't. Because we could genuinely have things waiting in here that are waiting on stuff that's got to get type checked. And so I feel like we need a separate counter for the stuff that's buffered. Problem is, those things are async actions. Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know what's a good solution to this. The problem is, you know, we're using these atomics for figuring out what's going on. You can't really compare two atomics, right? So one thing I could say is like, hey, let's have a separate count for how much stuff is buffered. And then if you've got async actions running, but all of them are accounted for by tanglers in the tangler, then it's time to send that message, right? And the problem is, you're inherently sampling atomics at different times. So like you can't ever do that unless, right, there are certain primitives that exist, like you could like interlocked exchange two numbers or something like that at the same time. So we could start doing that kind of shenanigan. The thing is, that makes it real annoying, but also I might already be doing that. So then that makes it even harder if I'm already doing that. So I just need to think about this when I am fresh tomorrow. It's likely, you know, since I've been streaming this, it's likely that I would pick it up tomorrow and keep running with it. This is one of these things where, you know, the compiler appeared to work fine, but there was a little bug in this part of the system, and making it really work correctly down to the roots involves a conceptual problem that we didn't know we had. right? We didn't know that this was an issue because we just weren't doing it correctly. Yeah, we'll give it some thoughts. Thanks everybody for coming by. We are going to sign off C's for the time being. Thanks for coming by and doing some programming and so forth. And I will see you later.